huge treat for the car enthusiast today as we speak to an amazing entrepreneur, Alan Barton, owner and founder of MotorClass, a premium vehicle dealership.
There was like thousands of salesmen, and back to back every single year I was the top salesperson.
I was keen to understand his mindset that took him from working as a salesman at a car dealership, making 70 to 80K a year, which is a decent income, to taking the risk and leaving at a time of having a young family to go on to build his own car dealership.
I was stopping at nothing at that point. Nothing was getting in my way. I wasn't interested in people's opinions of me until I could prove to myself I was successful. I was just tenacious. I was the first there in the morning, I was the last to go, and I never give up, and I went in on my days off. I trust my instinct 100%, and if there's something about somebody's energy, I just straight away, that's it, you made your mind up.
Alan, finally got you on, man.
Finally here.
Thanks for coming. You find it all right? All good?
Found it all right. I'm not very good at following directions, so a couple of texts to you along the way, and we got here in the end, didn't we?
Yeah, no, nice, that's nice. So your first ever podcast that you've done?
It's my first podcast.
We feel privileged.
I feel very privileged to be in the presence of a professional footballer here.
No, nice. No, well, thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
And so we're going to do, we spoke about it before, we're going to do a little bit different today, which I think is really cool, and something that I wanted to do actually before I started interviewing people. I wanted to do ones that are a lot more like discussions.
Yeah.
So I think it will be a good...
To and from.
Yeah. So it'll be a good little trial one here. And I think you mentioned that you're a really curious person, so you just wanted to ask me questions as well.
I think people are interested in you as well, mate.
Yeah, well, to be fair, like a lot of people that follow in the podcast, majority of them are probably new followers that don't actually know anything about me. So it'd be good to answer some questions as well and just have a normal convo, really.
Cool.
So to start off with, so why don't you tell people about just what you do, your company, what it does?
Yeah, so I run a premium car dealership. We pretty much specialise in anything high-end, anything with a big factory specification. We are probably one of the fastest growing premium car dealerships to date. We've been going for 6 years, and we've turned it into a £30 million turnover business.
Amazing, man.
With over 20 staff, so...
Love that. And was cars always a thing for you?
Never.
No.
Cars was never a thing for me. So in school with me, I was, do you know, a lot of people when they're growing up, you have an idea what you want to do.
Yeah.
For me, school was a terrible experience for me. So I was very disorientated in school. I like struggled with learning and stuff like that. So I think from an early age, I always just thought like, because I couldn't adapt to school, that I wasn't going to do anything great. Yeah. So when I left school, I actually got a job as a car valeter at the top of my street where I grew up. There was a car business at the top.
So we're talking like 16, 17?
Yeah, 16, 17. So there was like a car business at the top of the street, and I started valeting cars. It was just pretty much an intermediate job. But I developed a really good relationship with the director of the business. And he started letting me come in on the weekends to sell cars. And I found that I was very good at communication. And was
that his idea?
It was his idea, because he obviously seen something in me.
Okay.
I think as a young lad, you don't really know where you're going with life, do you?
Yeah.
So I think at that point, I was just sort of going in a bit of an aimless direction. And then I started getting a real buzz out of selling cars. And all selling it's communication. If you can understand what somebody else is thinking, and you can converse with them on a level, that's selling in itself. So then when I gripped hold of that and thought, I'm good at something here, I'm going to run with this fire just lit inside of me. I just thought, right, and I've always just been very confident since then, and then it's sort of the ball rolled from there, really.
So where do you think you got that natural kind of salesman skill from?
I don't know, because I never thought I had it. It just came with as I got older. But
then reflecting back, did you ever think of like, oh, this is probably why I'm good at it?
I think if you're ambitious enough with anything, you can be good at anything. Yeah, it's if you apply yourself to something, you can get good at anything. I do believe.
Was you when you started selling the cars? Was you kind of successful straight away in selling cars?
Very. Yeah, it was like duck to water. But the thing is, I was a lot more ambitious than everybody else. I think it's all about where you come from as an individual. So if you think about me, I grew up with limiting beliefs that I wasn't going to do much. And when I found out I could do something, it was like, grab hold of that with two hands. And I was just tenacious. I was the first there in the morning. I was the last to go. And I never give up. And I went in on my days off. And from leaving there, I went for working for a big business, Evans Alshaw. There was 180 dealerships in the UK. There was like thousands of salesmen, and back to back every single year I was the top salesperson, and that comes from drive and desire. So I think if you have drive and desire, that'll transpire into anything in life, and if you apply it, you'll be good at whatever you're doing.
Yeah, and you know, a good topic to start on as well, because sales, obviously being the Money Game podcast, talking about money and business, sales is like so important. And
sales is everything in life. Every
Everyone's
business is sales.
Yeah.
It all comes to one thing, which is sales.
Yeah, I think that's like anything. Because I follow a guy called Grant Cardone.
I follow Grant Cardone.
He's a serious guy. I love that guy, man. I learned so much of him, and he talks about like.
And just while we're on that as well, because people watching this, that it's very important to follow people within any industry that's just doing significantly better than you. 100%. Because that's what I've done. Like I've got an Instagram following now, and my the amount of people that watch my content, it's amazing. And I'm constantly putting inspirational stuff out there, and that's for a reason, just to give a bit back. But I'm the same as them. I'm doing what they're doing, but I'm just following people that are running multi-million pound companies, because there's no end goal for me. It's not a case of if I get here, I'm going to be happy. It's just growth. Just keep growing, and just enjoy that journey all the time of growing, because 100%. There's never an end destination. There's never a pot of gold at the end. You've just got to realise that this journey that you're on, you just got to keep evolving. And that's what I like. I like being in a position where I know I'm evolving all the time. And that doesn't need to be I'm earning more money. It means I'm growing as a person. I'm getting better at doing things. Just like coming on this podcast today, I'm out of my comfort zone. I've never done it before. I was slightly nervous about it, but you've just got to push yourself. You've got to keep putting yourself in them uncomfortable situations all the time.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's how you grow, don't you?
Yeah, and you soon realise, I think that the best thing about that as well is when you continuously keep doing that, putting yourself in uncomfortable positions, you look back and the things that you was super uncomfortable about is just like second nature.
But also that's important to say, when you build a business, you naturally find that there's stuff that you're very, very good at, and it's good to run with that stuff until you've built a foundation of a business that's doing something. But you need to revisit all them things that you're bad at, because they come back to bite you along the way. So and this is what I mean by facing your uncomfortableness. You've got to face it head on. But obviously, from anybody that's building a business, absolutely run with what you're good at. But when you get it to a certain position where it's sort of running itself in a way, you need to revisit all the things you're bad at. Because that's where you truly grow as a person, when you start facing the things that you're uncomfortable with. Yeah, I love that. And going back to sales, so you probably had a bit of a knack for it. Did you then try and scale that and learn more about sales? I did, yeah, and I'm still doing it today. And that's learning about that. It doesn't mean that I'm sat reading books about things. That just means that the more people I meet, the more I'm learning about how different people think. And the more of a grasp you have on different people and how they think, that you're better at sales, because you need to be able to communicate to the masses. Because one thing you realise when you're in sales is every person in front of you is different. And you've got to have, as a salesperson, you've got to have your core principles and beliefs, but you've got to adapt to everybody. Do you know what I mean? You've got to think how they perceiving how I am now, and then you've got to sell it to them in a way that they're going to take it on board and relate to. Do you know what I mean? So I'm still doing it today. I'm very interested in people and how they take information, and just this now. I'm very interested in this. You know, the reaction from somebody. You're learning something every day. But the thing is with me as well, it's the afterburn of meeting somebody. Like if I converse with you today, I'll be thinking about you for the rest of the day, thinking, how did you take that bit of knowledge? You know what I mean? And it's people that think like that grow. No, for sure. And so sales-wise, for a person who's coming to your dealership, I mean, I guess a good thing about that is like when they're coming to the dealership, they're more or less kind of looking for a car, right? Yeah, they come looking for a car. They come looking for a car. Or they come to see me. Yeah. So do you feel like when they come there, it's usually quite an easy sale, or is it normally people come in? For sure. So basically now with car sales, or with any industry now, there's so much available to you online before you go to a car showroom. So if somebody walks in my dealership, they're at their end of their buying cycle. Right. They're ready to buy. So obviously they will do a lot of research about us as a company. They'll look at how we behave online. They'll look at our reviews. They'll research everything. People that we deal with are smart people, because we sell 6-figure cars. So to buy a 6-figure car, you've got to be of a certain level of education yourself. So they find everything out about us that they want to find out before they actually come. And unless we seriously offend them when they come, they're buying a car. So do they normally have
a specific car in mind when they come in?
Well, we're in the specific car business, so every car that we have, we bought it for a purpose. So, I mean, there's many different cars on the road, but what we look to do to differentiate ourselves from others is buying cars with bits of specification that others don't have. Right. So just for argument's sake, head-up display, sliding panoramic roof. Yeah. We will buy cars for key reasons so that we've got what we call the golden nugget nobody else has got. So,
so you would never buy, you don't buy any basic cars whatsoever?
Never. Yeah. Even if I take one in part exchange, I trade it because it's not our identity. Yeah. We have what I find in business is you have to create a brand to differentiate yourself from other people. Bear in mind, I'm a car dealer. Look how many car dealers there are. There's a car dealer on every single street. So how do I identify myself as being different to others so that people will be drawn to my business? Yeah. And you've got to have a brand and you've got to have an identity. So you've got to stick to core beliefs and you've got to, be uniform with what you do as a business. And I think people in today's world, they buy into brands. And I think that's where we have exceeded other dealerships because we're an independent dealership. We're not a franchise dealership, which a franchise dealership is somebody that's perceived to be very reliable. So we just built our brand up and that's where we have done very well, I think.
I really hope you're enjoying the show. I would just like to ask for 1 minute of your time to tell you about my sponsor whose support makes the show possible, CPC Finance. CPC Finance is a finance broker that specializes in sourcing and packaging a wide range of property funding. You name it, from buy-to-lets to commercial properties, auction investments, property developments. They are everything you'd want as a finance broker working for you on your property deal. They're extremely experienced. They know their market extremely well, which means they can move quickly. They're on the ball. They've been in the game for 30 years, which has enabled them to, one, build very strong relationships with a variety of lenders, which as an investor is super important, especially when things don't go to plan. Deals in certain situations aren't straightforward, which is often the case. They are bespoke specialists. And two, they have a brilliant understanding of all types of property investing. They know the strategies, they understand deal structures. There isn't anything these guys haven't seen, they're seasoned pros. So if you're someone looking for property finance of any kind, go to cpcfinance.co.uk and on the homepage you can schedule in a call at whatever time or day suits. Are there many others that do what you do, like supercars?
Yeah, definitely.
But I think that's where the personal brand as well comes in quite well, doesn't it?
Personal brand comes in. We are at the bottom of the pecking order in the supercar game. Yeah. And bear in mind, we have only just dipped our toe into supercars. So we would say a supercar is a Lamborghini, a Ferrari. Yeah. We've had very little dealings in these cars. We do sell them. But, there's big players in that market that have been there for a long time.
So I didn't just mean supercars. I mean cars with like a specific...
Yeah, but it's important to identify the difference because supercars is a market in its own. Yeah. We have those cars, but we deal a lot in the market of in between sort of 50 to 100k market, where we'll buy like unique Audis, BMWs, Mercedes, and then we'll have a small part of our business will be that supercar market. But I feel that there is many people in that market, but I think we are definitely one of the market leaders in that particular tailored market between the 50 and 100k.
Do you feel like your personal brand and you and the content you kind of put out, when you look at your brand, you're like the face of it?
I'm the face of it, but what I am is what people relate to me with is I'm very honest and I tell you the good, the bad and the ugly.
Yeah, I've seen a few rants of yours.
Yeah, because people buy into it because I'm not a robot. I will sell you the good, the bad and the ugly. Like car dealerships online today, even when the industry is really quiet, like it is at the moment, they'll come on and they'll say, I've sold this, and this today. And they haven't. It's what they've sold over the last couple of weeks. And I'll just come on and say, car industry's quiet today. Because although people will perceive that as, you must be quiet, you can't be very good at your job. And it's like, no, it's not. It's just everybody understands that every industry is going to be quiet. People prefer honesty. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that's where I differentiate myself. We're the no-nonsense garage. We tell everybody how it is because we feel that we've built our business to such a level that we don't need to lie to our audience. Yeah. I guess, do you feel like a lot of sales come from you being out there? 100%. One thing that gets hard is a lot of people come off my Instagram, but because they've built a subconscious relationship with me, because these guys might have been following my content for 6 months, and they've not spoke to me, and the only reason they come in, this is putting my ego to one side completely, they've built this, and they feel like they know you. They feel like they know me. 100%. I get messages every day from people saying, Alan, you've inspired me so much with my business. My business was failing. I was going to give up, and I've give it another go. I know I don't know you, but I feel like you're my mate. Yeah. And it just feels great to hear that. to just think that you're having that effect on somebody else. Because I think when you get to a level of success in life, you sort of start asking yourself a question, thinking, okay, so I've got to this place that I've dreamed of all my life, and of course I want to keep going, but what can I give back to the people that are still dreaming? Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of people, they sit in jobs and they dream about doing what I've had the courage to do, and they read all these self-help books and I've read that, have you read that, have you listened to that, I listened to that, but I took action as well. Do you know what I mean? You're not taking action. I mean, I have a friend in my phone book at the moment who's just, for the last 2 years, he's been leaving next month to set up on his own. He's like, I know, but I've only got this and this at the moment. Definitely. And what happens is when you open a door and say, I'm going to get a bit of finger here, say to the universe, I'm going to open this door and I want a new life, things come to you naturally. Yeah. You're not just going to have what you had, then things change. When you open a door, opportunities always arise. I'm a big believer in that. Yeah. No, it's a good point, man. And that's obviously a big reason why I've done the podcast as well. It's like made with my friends in mind. So I bring guys on like you that probably been in their same situation. Maybe they was in a job that they didn't like. Yeah. And then they get someone like you come on that was in that same position, and now you've gone and started your own business, and now is where it is. And this is why I tell my story as well. You know, there's so many people like me that suffered in school. Yeah. Like, I wasn't a very good practical learner. I got overwhelmed with information. I couldn't sit in a classroom. And if you're being told from a very young age that if you don't do well, you're taught, if I don't do well, if I'm not getting A's, if I'm not in top set, that means that I'm not good enough. Yeah. Because you're not taught about how to communicate. You're not taught about business at all. Yeah. So you leave with limiting beliefs. So this is what I'm trying to tell people that have had the same journey as me. The only difference is with me is I've found a skill, I've found a passion, and I've run with it. Do you know? But people aren't running with it, and this is what I'm trying to tell my audience at the moment. That look, find something you're passionate about and run with it. Yeah. Because it's amazing what we're all capable of. Yeah. I think school does have that effect, doesn't it? Yeah, people definitely. Feel like if you're not good in school, where a lot of the markers that they mark you on in school is like irrelevant to life. It is for a certain category of people. Don't get me wrong. There's people that are very smart and that works for them. They'll get straight A's. They'll go on to be a doctor. We need doctors in the world. I'm just trying to say, just because you haven't got a good school education, it doesn't mean you should give up on yourself, because I truly believe that every single one of us has got a talent, and we need to utilize it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There's success available for all of us. Success is a state of mind, isn't it? For sure. Yeah. Where do you think you kind of is that mindset that you kind of have now? Yeah. Did you have to develop that? Could you use that? Yeah, I'm still developing it. Yeah. Success to me changes from what I believe for it to be, but I think it comes with confidence, and it comes with knowing yourself better as well. Because I think as you get older, certainly as I've got in my 30s, you ask yourself more questions about a lot of the beliefs that we have, a lot of the belief system that we run with. It's brought on by other people's beliefs. They're not our beliefs. Do you know what I mean? If you sit down and actually ask yourself, why do I think that? Yeah. Well, I think that because my brother thought that, and he influenced that on me. And it's like, all right, well, that's not my belief. What's my belief? I'm old enough to have my own belief now. Do you know what I mean? And I think as we're young, we all have role models. And for me, mine was my brother. He was my role model. Everything he did was just I looked up to him, loved him, and I still do. But I'm my own person now, and you've got to connect with yourself and ask yourself what's important to you. Because a lot of what I'm trying to say here is a lot of our behaviours, we're doing it to impress other people's beliefs. Yeah. They're not our beliefs. Yeah, no, for sure. That's literally me. You know, everything I do, I'm always trying to like unbreak like the conventional things that I grew up with. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Or like the kind of categories that kind of people put you in. Football, for example, a lot of people, just do football. I post a lot about this, money, business, property, where it's not the normal. How old are you, Kev? 28. You're 28, yeah. So see, it took me a long time to, believe it or not, like, I'm a slow learner. I pick up things slowly, but then when I pick it up, I learn that subject fast. Yeah, do you know what it takes so long for me to when you get it, you get it. But then I progress so fast. Yeah. But that's because I put everything into it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's took me a long time to actually think, this belief I have, it doesn't sit well with me. Yeah. Is this my belief? Yeah. It's not my belief. It's somebody else's belief. Yeah. Yeah, I even in the smallest things as well. So even sometimes me and my missus get into like little debates about certain things, because sometimes she wants to do something, and I'm like, well, why do you actually want to do that? Is that just because of what you think is normal, or that you see a lot of other people doing, where
it's like, no, what do we want to do? We don't have to follow
100%.
what everyone else does. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, not a lot of people are comfortable enough to say that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm comfortable now because I've demonstrated to myself that I can be successful. People look up to me as an individual and think, wow, look at him, he's turned his life around. And I think it's only until that point that you've proven to yourself that you can actually say, all right, these beliefs that I've got, this whole core belief system, where's it come from?
Yeah.
Do I believe it? I actually don't. That's nonsense. And when you start challenging it, you actually become happier.
Yeah,
you become more peaceful as a person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So starting from just before you decided to start the business, where was you at in terms of, was you in another job?
I worked for Evans Alshaw, and as I was saying to you before, I was working my days off. I was working 7 days a week. Bear in mind, I had a young family at the time as well. I was obsessive. I was just tenacious, and I just wanted.
You got kids?
Yeah, I've got 2 kids.
Two kids.
I started really young as well. So me and my wife Tanya got together when I was like 21. She was 23, and instantly we had our daughter Lily. Now who's 13. So yeah, 2 kids. Going back to the question, I worked for Evans Alshaw, and I was saying to you before that the good thing with business is, with me, is the sky's my limit. I can always feel like there's growth, and when I feel like there's growth, I don't feel suffocated. I just feel every day I can grow. Every day there's going to be something new. Every day I can challenge myself. Yeah. And I got to a point in Evans Alshaw where I'd worked there for 8 years. I was working my days off. I was just doing everything humanly possible. I was worn out, tired, and I couldn't grow anymore. Yeah. Like, I was selling over 400 cars a year. The next best salesman to me was selling 180. It was just, it got too much for me. And I just thought, I'm going to kill myself if I stay here because I can't do anymore. So that's the reason I left. And it was funny because I'd actually started a business previously. When I met Tanya, my wife, I actually had a business at the time, but I was quite young at that point. I was very overambitious, very undereducated. And because I couldn't even manage myself, I couldn't manage a business. Yeah. So I come home to Tanya one day, and this has been brewing for a bit, and I said, Tanya, I'm leaving. And I was earning a lot of money at this. For the nature of the job I was earning a lot of money, and she just, you're not leaving. Do you know? And it was just like, because Tanya's sensible, she's secure, we had a good house, we had 2 kids, we had everything we wanted, we could buy nice clothes, go on nice holidays, but it wasn't enough for me. And for certain people, it's just not enough. You need more. Yeah. So I was taking a big risk, and I always go back to that day with Tanya now and say, what about what you said? Because now we've got a phenomenal life.
It's a bargaining chip with anything you need now, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got a phenomenal life, but still she says, yeah, look, you know, she looks up to me, so I think you're amazing for what you've done and the courage that you've shown to put us on the map and get us a better life. Yeah.
Was it a complete like cut-off point, or did you say, I'm just leaving and I'm gone and I'm going to start my business from scratch? Or did you like kind of start having it in the background?
I had it in the background.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was building something in the background. Yeah. That I think I'm trying to think back if she knew. She knew, but she just thought it was something on the side. Right. But all I was doing to myself is I was demonstrating that this was possible. So
so you didn't even tell her then?
No, I was just demonstrating to myself because I knew the conversation, how it was going to go. Yeah. I knew when I said to Tanya, I'm leaving my job that I'm absolutely smashing. I knew where it was going. But I think when you're a free spirit like me, although I love my wife and I listen to her, you know, I do what I want to do. And if I think that that's the right decision, I'm going to do it. So it was a formality. I'm going. Go on, let it out. Give me your insecurity about it, and then I'll do what I'm going to do. Yeah.
What was your reservations at that point? I'm sure you had a few fears, right?
Honest to God, Kev, and this is the difference with me, I never ever think something's going to go wrong. I'm so confident in myself, and that can work against you, by the way. Yeah. I'm so confident in myself that I just know it's going to work. I'm just very assured in my... I was more nervous about coming here today speaking to you than I was leaving a job and going and setting my own business up. I didn't even think about it twice.
But what about like financially? Because you would have gone from income...
So what I'd done is I'd already demonstrated the model whilst I worked. So basically I had somebody in the background who had his own car forecourt, and I was putting cars in his forecourt, buying them. He was selling them for me. So I'd built a pot up, and I was...
Is this like a big no-go for your company that you're working with though, right?
Yeah.
They couldn't find that out, right?
Yeah. So that's well gone by now. In this town, I've become a big success. I don't care about that. So I'd already demonstrated it to myself that it was possible.
Yeah. As you all know, it's been a turbulent time for travel, with the booking process in particular causing feelings of frustration and anxiety amongst travelers, whether that's for business or for those holidaying with their families. With that being said, I would like to introduce you to our sponsor, Love to Travel, who are a luxury travel company specializing in tailor-made holidays for each individual client. Whatever your preference might be, Love to Travel will be sure to meet your requirements. As an ambassador of Love to Travel, but also from personal experience, I would definitely recommend them to take away all the work and stresses of booking your travel. For me, the personal service stands out. They're contactable at any time, email, over the phone, WhatsApp. They also cover a variety of holiday types: beach, ski trips, safari, sporting holidays, and also have an additional service such as private jet and yacht charters, as well as restaurant reservations. No request is too complex. All holidays are fully tow insured to ensure you can book with complete confidence. Get in contact by visiting their website, www.lovetotravel.co.uk. So how did you go from leaving your job, you got there, to the new business that you started setting up?
Yeah.
What was kind of the moment where it was like, yeah, shit, this is really working?
So the thing is, in our game, is it's an asset business, so we're not selling a service, so it requires money. So I set up with a certain amount of money. I actually got like loads of credit cards out at the time and just put them into the business and set with a set amount of money, and you've just got to snowball it. You've got to get that, you've got to keep that money in that business and keep snowballing it. So that's what I did, and I didn't take much out of the business. That was a key. That was it. That was one of the key things with my growth. I kept my life basic and took very little out until the business was demonstrating that it was running on its own 2 feet.
So it was buy a car, sell it, profit, bring it back in, go
Absolutely,
again.
and just take a very small salary. So my lifestyle for 2 years went from earning quite a bit of money at Evans Alshaw, so I was on the breadline again. Do you know what I mean? We wasn't buying nice clothes. We was reusing the clothes we had. We wasn't going on holidays. We went on holidays, but they was cheap budget holidays. I didn't buy nice clothes. I didn't have nice watches. And to be honest, this is one of the key things that I find wrong with people when they're trying to get a business off the ground. They're more interested in showing people the business is doing well by having a Rolex and a nice car than actually worried about what the business is actually doing. Do you know, I took the pride out of knowing this business that no one can see in my bank account, it's getting places. And before, it happens so quick with me, and this is what a lot of people say, how have you got from there to there so fast? And it really was just working so hard and not spending money. Just keep building the business up.
Talk to me about that period of your life where you went from a good amount of income to very little on the breadline. A conversation with your missus, was it like, yo, we're not spending no money?
She goes with the flow, Tanya. She's a good person like that. She's not bothered about stuff as long as she's got basic requirements. It wasn't important to us.
But not so much like materialistic thing, but like, you know, you can't go on holiday, or you got to watch your budget when you're going shopping a little bit, or do you know what I mean?
Well, do you know what?
How was it?
I'd say it was restrictive in some time. It was restrictive sometimes, but it's not something that stands out to me that was ever a suffering.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So it can't have been that bad. But the thing is, with me as well, is we didn't, at that point, back in the early days, we didn't ever have lavish holidays and stuff like that. So it was also something was being taken away from us.
So you spoke about kind of what your missus thought about you starting your own business. What about like other people around you, friends? Did you get the backing from them?
100%. Yeah. So one of the interesting stories is with my business now is everybody that works for me used to work at Evans Alshaw. This is because they knew what I was like. I was different to them. I was tenacious and I was so obsessed. So even when my business hadn't really got off the ground, the first salesman...
They came over before it was like established?
I was taking them one by one. So the first guy I took now, who's actually one of the managers, the conversation I had with him was, look, Mike, I think this business is going places. I've grown it to a point now where I can no longer sell cars anymore. I need to step back and start building these other things. I need you to come on board as a salesman. No problem. Back you all the way. So he left a big corporate company to come and work for little old, what was it called?
And he would have got paid less as well, right?
It's not that he would have been paid less. It was more to do with he was coming to, at that point, an unstable company that wasn't proven. Just off the back of me.
Do you reckon he would have came for less money?
Did he come for less money? No.
Or would he have?
Would he have come for less money? I'd have to say no. he wouldn't have come if I wasn't selling him the prospect of earning more money and creating a better life for himself. So like he would have come thinking, all right, well, I might earn as much for 12 months, but I know this guy's going places. But he knew under my umbrella that he was going to progress.
So what could he do different at yours that he couldn't do at that other company?
He was working under me and me nurturing him.
Better environment.
Yeah, just a better environment. And I think some people need nurturing. Like this particular person that I'm speaking about now, when he was in Evans Alshaw, he sold 10 cars a month. When he come working for me, I had him doing 20, 25 because I inspired him. Do you know, people need that. I don't need it. Do I need it? I get it from outside sources. Also, I'm constantly obsessing, looking at Elon Musk. Wow, look what he can do. Do you know what I mean? But some people just need that nurturing. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what signifies a good manager. Knowing your staff, knowing which buttons to press with all of them to get the best level out of them.
So you mentioned back when you worked at the old place, you were selling 400 cars.
400. My last year I sold 426 cars in a calendar year.
In your last year working there?
Last year working for them.
Yeah, okay, cool. So you've done that. And then the other guy just saying they're selling like 100, 180.
In the dealership, the next best person was selling around 180 to 200.
What's the difference?
In salary? Or in
no, between you two. Why are you selling 400? Why is he selling 100?
Because they like the private life and they're comfortable within themselves just being average.
Right, and you're more out there.
I'm just always wanting more for myself. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
But I mean, like, what habit, what does it look
habits?
Like? Yeah. If I was coming into the dealership, I seen you and I seen him,
so this is an interesting thing, right? When you walked into the showroom, you'd think me selling double the amount of cars, I was the first desk at the front of the showroom. I wasn't. I was the desk at the back. And the reason that is I would weigh that customer up when they walk through that door and see if there's someone I want to speak to. I didn't know, but I had a good understanding of somebody that came in for a mooch and somebody that came in just with the body language. So I would hope, so I wouldn't get myself tied up with nonsense. Right. If you're the first person at the front, it's the first person that person gravitates towards. Like so I'd sit back, calculate, and I'd watch the behaviours, but I would have known how they've pulled up on the forecourt, whether they've gone, had a piece of paper searching for a car. Yeah. I picked up on all.
But then how'd you get over if he's serious? How'd you get over getting him instead of the first person at the desk grabbing him?
Well, so they'd pull up in the car park, they'd get out of the car, I'd look at the body language between each other.
Before they get to
then they'd have a piece of paper. So if they had a piece of paper, that means they've printed a car off that they've seen on the internet that we've got. So straight away, that's a telltale sign. Yeah. They'll search to see if they can find it, and then they'll walk through the door. So I know that customer's serious. So I'd be straight up, straight over. But other people wouldn't observe on that level because they wasn't that bothered. Do you know what I mean? So I was calculated in my assassination of how to get the most out of my day. So I wouldn't get myself tied, because one of the biggest things is getting tied up with a customer that wants 2 hours of your time that isn't going to buy a car. They wouldn't be getting me.
Yeah. And then, so what else would you say in terms of when you've actually got the people and you're locking someone in?
What would I say is
difference in skill.
A difference in skill.
Yeah, because you wouldn't.
I was ruthless in getting to the point. Everything was methodical. It was ruthless in getting. I would establish the customer's actions all along, and I'd tie it up into such a small package that I could have a customer in and out within 30 minutes. I was just. People used to say to me, "How can you just say that to a customer? Why not? Why can't I say that to a customer? I'm trying to take an hour process of messing around to put it into 10 minutes.
Yeah, like that.
They've got.
I think that kind of ties into a little bit what we're talking about, like the unwritten rules that we kind of put on ourselves, isn't it? Like,
get to the point and don't be scared of it. Because if I go into a shop, right, I want them to serve me in the most timely fashion. I don't mess about. If I see, me and Tanya will go out shopping, I'll see something I like, I buy it. Don't buy that. Let's go to the. What if you like that? I'll buy that as well, but I want to buy this now. So it's all about concluding everything in a timely fashion. You don't want to waste your time. Nobody wants to waste the time, do they?
Yeah, do you know what? That's one thing that I'm actually finding a pattern and a similarity with the guests that I bring on. And we spoke about even on the last podcast that we just did, is how ruthless people are, how ruthless these guys that are coming on are with like the time.
Yeah.
Like if something doesn't serve them, they just drop it out.
Drop it. And that's it.
Like they know how to say no to things.
But it's what I say ruthless because that's their perception of ruthless. Everybody else within the dealership would say, you're ruthless, you're ruthless. To me, it wasn't. I wasn't ruthless. I was just direct.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. That's how I just had to get everybody into my way. Do you know what I mean? I was good at doing that.
Yeah.
So I would direct that customer through their purchase. I wouldn't let them direct me through their purchase. Do you know what I mean? I would break it down for them. You like this car, that's what you want.
So you kind of controlled
I controlled it. And that's one thing with me is I do like to control. If I don't feel like I'm in control of something, I like to control things, because if I've got control of it, then I know that the outcome is going to be in my favour.
Yeah. Was you liked in the dealership? Do you think?
That's a very, very good question. I like that question. I was admired by few and hated by many.
Yeah.
However, it's different now. Like, my relationship with people now is very, very different. Why would I say that is? But it's a really good question, that, because
I'm sure the other side.
We go back to this. Me and Rex, one of the guys that works with me, was talking about this the other day. And I just think it's because I was stopping at nothing at that point. Nothing was getting in my way. I wasn't interested in people's opinions of me until I could prove to myself I was successful. Mm-hmm. And I've done that now. And it's not like I want to start. I'm not saying I put my flag in the ground. I'm successful now. That's it. Yeah. I've proved to myself now. So I'm not as direct, I'd say. So I'm a bit more understanding of other people, because I can be now. Then I couldn't. I was on a mission. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
So what do you think your kind of mission is from now? Your purpose kind of changed a little bit, do you feel?
My purpose has changed because I'm on a bit of a mission with myself at the minute, because I think the more you understand about yourself, the better you are with everything in life. Do you know what I mean? Even with your business as well. So, I mean, I've got the business to a point now where it almost runs itself. It doesn't really... I don't have a key role in the business anymore where it consumes my time. Yeah. Like,
was that important for you to kind of have a bit of freedom?
It was what made this company grow at a big rate. So up until COVID, so when COVID hit, I was doing so many roles in the company, and then COVID hit, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to lose everything here. And it was like a true realization. It's like, really? Oh my God, like, we're closed. Yeah. And my overheads are like 6 figures a month. What am I going to do? Yeah. So what it did then is, because of all the support that the government it gave every company and every director the time to actually analyse the business. So when we went back, I took myself out of the business and I put people into key roles. I promoted people just so that I could have an overview of the company and see what was working and what wasn't working. Because one thing in business, you've got to get yourself to a certain point first. You've got to do everything yourself to save money. But there is a key part in a business where you've got to think, right, I need to come out and I need to look at what's going on. You can't truly manage a business and see the direction it's going if you're in it, doing a role. You need to be out of it. It's like you playing football. Like, the manager can't be playing on the pitch. Yeah. He needs to be managing your behaviours and your tactics. It's the same with a director of a business. 100%. Do you know what I mean? So that was the biggest growth for me, where when I took myself out of the business and it didn't rely on me day to day to actually run. So I can sit at home, go on my management system if I wanted to. I wouldn't actually have to turn up, other than my Instagram messing around in front of people. You know what I mean? Good point. So that's one of the biggest realizations for me, that to run an effective business at a high scale, you can't be involved in the day-to-day runnings of it. Some people will take pride in that. I do everything. And it's all right, cool. But you'll never grow a massive business if you're doing everything. You've got to become good at delegation. Delegation is the key thing in growing a business, and certainly if you want to franchise it, and you've got to step away from it. Yeah. Given
that space from the business that you're talking about, do you feel like that takes emotion out of it as well? Being a bit distant from the business?
No, it gives them more emotion, because you see more. You see more. You see more. You see the business for what it actually is. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to being in it and being seeing these human emotion, these reactions that you get to all the stresses of every day. Yeah. And this is a key thing that I want to talk about as well. Is when you grow in a business, it really is important to step away from it and make your key decisions when you're at peace at night. So I had this thing where I didn't sleep. Like I'd go to bed, and at 11 o'clock when everyone was asleep in the house, between 11 and 1 o'clock, I just lay there. I got so many good ideas about the business, and I'd go in the next day and implement them. And that's because you're at peace and you're not reacting on anything off emotion. If you react and make business decisions when you're emotional, that's what I meant. They are not good decisions. Exactly. You've got to literally, and that became like my little. I called it my little meditating time. That was my little peaceful time between 11 and 1. I just got so much clarity. Or even stuff that's happened throughout the day. Like someone can say something to you the wrong way and it'll just get you back. It'll spike an emotion. If you react on that, then you might create, a situation you don't want. If you sit back, you can understand more about what's happened throughout the day to make them do that. And then you can go in and implement a strategy for it not to happen again. So what I'm trying to say to you is, to run an effective business, you need to not be emotional. You need to make conscious, not emotional decisions for it to.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because like sometimes when you're too involved in the business on a day to day and things are going wrong, it gets a bit emotional, and it kind of links a bit with football as well. Because I feel like the more I've come into business and doing things like this and making my life not solely football, I've been able to like step away from football a little bit and see where I've gone wrong and where I'm going right. Sometimes when it's just football every single day.
I'm very inspired by you, Bri. There's not many people, or is there, or do I not see it, that are actually got a professional footballing role and the reason you're doing this podcast now is to meet new businessmen and see their ideas and see how they actually conduct themselves, because this is great intel, isn't it, this?
100%.
And obviously you're doing property now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find that interesting because it just shows, because I think with professional sports as well, you've got to think that it's a very limited time frame. You really do need to start planting seeds, don't you? For getting income when you sort of leave the profession. That
as well. You know, it helps so much currently with your career. Like I said, when it's always football, it's so hard to like detach yourself and see where you're going wrong sometimes.
Do you find that your managers have a key role in your performance? Do you find that certain managers have like really influenced you and made you better?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I reckon some players would end up having the wrong managers all the time for them and never
truly. I've had it. Yeah, I've had it. I've had ones that are like. It's so important to have a manager that likes you as a player and believes in you as a player.
Gets the best out of you.
So when I got bought on, went to Hull, the manager loved me, like really wanted me to get there. I was like, oh, that's great. That's a big reason why I'm going to go. Yeah. He gets sacked in 6 months.
Wow.
Someone else comes in who they didn't choose me to come. So then.
So it interests me to see what measures do you take as an individual to try and get into his.
Bro, that period was probably one of the hardest parts of my career when that manager came in.
Yeah.
And he didn't like me as a player. It was a bit like of a decision. Do I just stay with what I am?
Do you think his decision was already made about you, or do you think that you could have done anything differently to?
I did change it over time. I did change it over time.
And how long was this period?
Year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sometimes it was like fighting just an uphill battle.
Yeah.
Like,
what do you think it was about you that wasn't part of his plans?
Just with managers, some managers just have let's say a certain position. They have a really specific,
methodical way of approaching it.
They like a certain type of player. So there may be one manager who really likes a technical player who can just stand there and pass it and just keep it ticking, or there's others that like someone who's more mobile and gets about. And if you're not the one that he doesn't like, no matter how good you do your thing.
What's your game?
Kind of a bit of an all-arounder, more athletic, but good technically. But I'm really like more defensive-minded.
Yeah.
So if I'm a defensive-minded, you might like someone who likes to attack more.
Yeah.
Rather than managers.
So that's very much a position that's key for being different as well, isn't it? It's not like a defender. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
but it's a tough balance. It's like, do I change myself for him, or do I just stick to what I'm at? And if he needs me, he needs me, and that's kind of
what happened.
That's it. Yeah. Or I try and go somewhere else.
And what did happen? Where was that?
I ended up going into the team, but it was still tough. Like, because even when I did really well, and all the other players knew I was doing really well. Yeah. It's like, do you know when you just don't like someone, and no matter what they do, they could just be breathing, you don't like them.
Yeah. No, it happens. Sometimes I can meet somebody, and with all honest, and I'm being so truthful, I can meet somebody, and before I even exchange words with them, there's an energy that I don't like. Yeah. And a lot of the business decisions I've made has been off my gut instinct feeling. I say this a lot. It's about that inner voice and connecting to that inner voice. And a lot of people are like, it's all a bit. It's not. It's the more you connect to yourself. I trust my instinct 100%. And if there's something about somebody's energy, I just straight away. That's it. You made your mind up, haven't you? And you can't. I don't know. You just can't seem to improve that relationship.
That's what it is, and that happens a lot, man. That's why you see sometimes players go to teams and then just like they were so good at
there's a lot of moving parts, isn't there, in football? See, whereas me with my business, I don't like it. it overwhelms me. I'm like, I'd like to have them parts, because what's happened with me is the reason I've been able to scale my business is because I knew the parts I had was there to stay. So it's like building an house. If you've got a solid foundation, you can build up. If you haven't, and the moving parts, you can't build a steady house, can you? And that's the way I've always attacked business. And the good thing for me is the people that work for me, I've had a relationship with these people for a long time. They're very good friends, which can work against you as well in some ways, but I've been able to build a solid business that's been able to be scaled at such a quick, because there wasn't moving parts. But whereas in a football team, managers move, players move, it's so hard to find that stability, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what? I think that's why I like business so much.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a different life. I control everything.
Control it.
So much more. I'm a control freak.
Yeah.
So I like control. Like with football, you can be doing so well like that, injured, your career is stagnant for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it.
And do you find that that's a trait of the people that you've interviewed? Do you find that they've got an element of control? Do you think they're all control?
They're control freaks. Yeah, all of them. All of them.
It's weird, isn't it? That you just won't. Well, it isn't weird because it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah,
you just a control. Everything's got to be your way.
Yeah, well, otherwise, like, you see some people, their life is just like a fucking roller coaster. They're just like moving around all the time and they're like, all right with it. So, you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, definitely there's definitely a link between the people that I have on. They're all control freaks. They've got to control everything. Yeah. Or as much as they can, but they're also very aware of the things they can't control and they just let it go.
And also what I wanted to speak about as well is being self-aware of yourself as well. Don't ever criticize yourself as much as you possibly can. I'm constantly asking myself, how did I deal with that today? Was that great? How can I do it better? Because ego plays a massive role in success. Do you know what I mean? And you can use it in your favor. Everybody needs a bit of ego, but it can really work against you. And I see a lot of people when they've found a little bit of success, they just go within themselves. I'm the big I am. I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to you. Everything's great. I'm constantly looking for flaws in my character, and it's to grow and be better. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I just find a lot of people go within themselves and think they're great. Do you know, I think you've always got to ask yourself questions, and that's why I was asking you those questions before. Why do you think your manager didn't like you? What do you think you could have done differently? Because it's not to say there's anything wrong with you, but I think you've got to adapt all the time to new situations, and industries, business, everything about it changes all the time. Definitely. And if you're not adaptable, then you end up getting left behind. Yeah.
Do you know, I also found out maybe a little bit too late as well that I would have liked to know before is like, well, it's kind of obvious, but not a lot of people apply it, is how important it is having good, reliable people around you.
100%.
So like, even like the podcast, for example, I've got like a good team. And then every time I do a podcast, I'll be like, am I talking too fast? Am I talking too quiet? Because sometimes you can't see it within yourselves. Yeah. Am I talking too quiet? Am I talking too fast? What did you think of like the background? What do you think of the questions that I asked? Yeah. Because when you're in it yourself, it's hard to...
And you've got to have that team being honest with you as well, and not being scared. But that comes from you as a character, because if you're hostile and standoffish, they're not going to influence you to be better. They're going to say, it was great, Kev, because they just can't be bothered with that interaction. So it's about making yourself as well. It comes from you. It's about making yourself approachable to your team. Because one thing I have around me is often they'll tell me if they think I'm off with something. But I ask them, if I have a situation that arises in work and it's not gone my way, I'll go and sit in the office for half an hour and I'll be either frustrated, upset or something. And then I'll just say, what did I do wrong there, do you think? And they feel they can tell me. And why wouldn't you want to be like that? Why? Look, the aim is, as people, is to grow. And it's the people that have reached somewhere that they're content and happy with, where they come within themselves. They don't want to learn any more about themselves. Do you know what I mean? For me, it's always about how I can deal with a situation better. How can I make this business bigger? And the only way you can do it is by learning more about yourself and growing in situations and how you deal with things.
Yeah, no, for sure. But moving on and going back to the business, one topic I wanted to talk about, which I think is really important, and something I've actually tried to like figure out over the last like year or so, is going back to cars. Yeah. And the best way, and it's a big topic in like football as well, is when buying a car, what's the best car to buy, the best way to buy it? Is it best to lease it? Best to buy it outright? How to not lose money?
This is absolute fact. There isn't a best car to buy because it changes all the time. Like for us, being in a business, like there's trends all the time with cars. So I'll buy a car, like, wow, that's so fast. I'm going to buy another. That's so fast. That's so before you know it, you've got 3 or 4 of them and then they go completely off the boil and they lose money. The best way to buy a car, especially when you're buying expensive cars, is to develop a relationship with a trusted dealer.
Yeah.
And when you're looking to change your car, instead of part exchanging it, where that dealer's got to buy it back off you and stand it in the stock, ask them to sell it for you on their behalf. Just say, will you sell this for me, and just work for a small fee? Because therefore it's a more cost-effective exercise for you. It's more cost-effective for us because we don't have to invest our money in it and then move into your next car. And in terms of how to fund it, you always better doing a low-rate PCP agreement, which is, you've got to think about, if you're buying a car that's 100 grand, 80 grand, that's a big amount of money to take over a period of time. So in the car industry, you have a finance agreement called personal contract purchase, where you basically have low monthly payments and there's a big balloon at the end of it. But the thing is, you've usually changed your car before you're paying the balloon off anyway. So that's definitely the best way to
but then usually, how do you normally prevent it from like going into negative equity?
Oh God, it really is. The only way of really doing it is by paying a good chunk off it, like a big deposit at the start, and paying higher monthly payments. But it's like
some companies kind of kill you a bit on the interest.
Not really. The thing is, the finance, when you have so if you go to a car dealership, that car dealership have set that rate for you. Okay, so they've set that rate for their business because they're, let's say, I don't know, Black Horse will be the finance provider for that dealership. So Black Horse will go to the dealer and say, what rate do you want to set?
So that's non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. They can't change that.
Not anymore. The FCA has changed it now. Really? They say you've got to have a set rate for everybody, and you can't manipulate it. Because before this rule came in, you would literally, like, car dealerships would get a measure of that person, think, what can I get away with here? So so
it's changed now. So they're recent.
Yeah, so pretty recently, the finance company, the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority, have said no longer can you dictate a rate for a customer. You've got to set a rate with your finance provider, and then you stick to it, and every customer gets that rate. So we'll get a rate from the provider, and then we'll say,
how do they dictate rates? Because it's not the same for every dealership, is it? It's different.
Yeah, but obviously, so like, let's say Black Horse is our finance partner. They'll say, right, Alan, what rate do you want to dictate for your customers? And we'll say, well, we want to go in keen because we want to make sure that all our customers we can make that car affordable. So we'll set that rate that then can't be changed. But what happens is we get a commission from the finance company based off of what rate we set. So if I say I want to go at 2% higher, then obviously we'll get paid a lot more money. But if you do that, then so you'll come to me and you'll say, well, your car here is 1,200 quid a month. I can go and get it from him the exact same one for 9. It's like, why? Well, my rate's high because I want to make more commission. So it's all about your strategy. And
obviously, so usually dealerships that feel like they've got stronger brands would probably normally push it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Do you know what? Do you know the dealerships that are more expensive is when you actually go to a main franchise dealership, or you go to a dealership that's a group. Because what then happens then is, getting quite technical here, but the head office will get the rate from the finance company, then they'll sell it out to the dealership at a higher rate because it's run as a pyramid business. So basically, if you go to a Mercedes main dealer, their interest rate now is 10.9, whereas you can come to me and get 7.9.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So the same car there will be another 300 quid a month.
So that's obviously what adds a massive risk into going to negative equity.
Yeah. So basically, if you're looking to buy a car, 100% you need to be looking at a PCP agreement, and you need to be looking at what dealership is offering the best rate. And if you're a person that constantly changes your cars and you're buying higher end cars, my advice would be find a dealership that's trustworthy, get a relationship with them, ask them to sell your car on their behalf so that you take a smaller fee. Because if you part exchange it, you get offered a lot less money than what you would do if you asked them to sell it for you.
Yeah. And what about leasing?
Leasing.
What do you think about that?
The thing is with leasing companies can only get older generic cars. So there'll be leasing cars, there'll be massive amount of cars that are manufactured. They'll more than likely have like basic specs. So if you're not that bothered about specification and you're happy with a pretty ordinary car, it's my understanding, if you go to a lease company, that you can get some good deals. The problem is with that is if you get a lease deal, is you're fixed into it for that term. So if you go and get like a 2-year lease, then you've got to be in it for 2 years. And if you try and come out of it, they charge you for coming out of it. Whereas if you have a PCP or HP, it's a lot more flexible. You can go to a dealer, you can request a settlement figure. It's just a lot more flexible. So if your circumstances change, if your personal circumstances change, you're in a lease deal, you're screwed, really.
Yeah. Okay. So you think, someone buying a car, you think it's definitely go to a dealership where it's lowest interest possible.
Yeah, so research,
PCP.
go on the website. Every dealership displays the website,
Yeah.
displays their interest rate. Just look at their interest rate compared to others, and then you'll get a general idea of what is a good and bad rate at that time.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, interest rates fluctuate all the time, so I'd say go on people's websites and see who's got the best interest rate. At the moment, a good interest rate would be considered anything from 6.9 to sort of 8.9 APR. Anybody charging over that, forget it.
Yeah. And then moving on from then, financially, what's the best way to kind of move from there? Would you keep it for 2 years and then give it back?
The thing is, the more you change your car,
Yeah.
the dearer it is. Because
Oh, really?
yeah, the more you change your car, the dearer it is. Because what you've got to understand is what the deciding factors are. For me to run my business and make money, I've always got a margin in my car. So every time you change your car, you're paying the dealer's margin every single time.
Right.
So as well as depreciation, you're paying the dealer's margin.
Got ya.
So the less you change, the less dealer's margin you're paying every time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what makes it more expensive. But that's what I was saying to you before. If you develop a relationship with a dealer and they know that you're a regular changer, they're going to be prepared to do deals that they don't do for anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I have loads of people that have come through my Instagram and been like, "Al, can I deal with you direct? I change my car all the time. Will you do a bit of a deal for me?"
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "Well, yeah, he's gonna change the car every 3 months. This guy, I might as well do a deal for him."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You drunk about 4 litres, it?
Yeah, mate. I'm always drinking. When I'm talking, I'm drinking, but only water.
So then what about when you get to the balloon payment? Is it better to just kind of continue through the PCP?
So you have 3 options at the end. You can either pay the balloon payment and own the car, which nobody ever does because nobody generally has the money for that balloon payment.
Yeah.
You can either refinance the balloon payment into payments, or you can hand it back to the finance company or part exchange it to a dealer.
Oh, yeah.
But what actually happens is, it's funny, is like you'll come to me and take a car out over 4 years with a balloon payment at the end. But after 18 months, 2 years, people have changed the car already.
Yeah.
So the agreement's immaterial because you never actually use it to that structure because people are changing so much.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's a lot better to go into an agreement that's flexible, because if you take a lease deal, which might be a little bit cheaper, I'm not really up on the lease deals, to be honest. I've never done them.
You don't do them?
Don't do lease at all.
Right.
There's set companies that'll do them. But what my understanding is of it is it's fixed. So if you sign a 2-year lease, you're paying that lease for 2 years. If you decide after 12 months that I want to change, you've got to pay the rest of the lease off.
Yeah. So at your company now, you've got a few salesmen, right? You don't do the actual sales yourself anymore.
No. I was only selling cars for the first 6 months of the
Is
business.
it? Since then, you've not done any?
No, I don't do any selling anymore.
What your guys like? Have you got a competitive environment?
Yes, I have got a competitive environment, yeah. But it's a good environment as well. It's about having a healthy balance.
Yeah.
Because if you structure your sales team and you have 4 assassins, it's just mayhem. You've got to have some people that are just going to accept someone's going to do more than them. Everyone's got their own attributes. So some people will be better at customer care. Some people will be better at finance agreements and selling certain products. Some people will muck in more on the forecourt and make sure the place is absolutely presentable. And then you'll have one ruthless operator that's so selfish, don't want to do anything but just wants to sell loads of cars.
That was what you was, right?
That was me, yeah.
Do you have one of them now?
I was the horrible... Yeah, I do have one now. He was the one that was
Do you
second...
see yourself in him?
100%. He was the guy that was second best to me at Evans Alshon.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So he was second best to me. But when I left, there was so much pie left. So if you think about Evans Alshon, there was 8 salesmen, I think. I was taking probably 50% of the pie.
Wow.
And then there was 7 salesmen that was getting the rest.
Yeah.
So then when I left, this second salesman that works for me now, who's my ruthless killer, he then ended up started selling numbers massively because I had left and I wasn't suppressing his growth anymore.
And then you went and picked him over?
So I took him in the end, yeah.
And then how does the commission work for them? Like a car salesman?
Yeah, so I mean, any good car salesman will earn anywhere in between sort of 50 to 70k a year. So some might earn.
With bonuses and commission?
Yeah, so your basic wage is terrible. You know, your basic salary within an industry salary would be about 12k a year.
Yeah.
And then most average commission will be £100 a car. Then you get paid for selling add-ons, warranties, finance. If a customer takes finance, they'll get.
So what's generally the most they can make on a car?
If
they add a few things onto it, and
well, I've had a salesman this week earn 500 out of one deal.
Okay.
Yeah, so But I do pay my staff very well. They wouldn't earn that anywhere else.
Yeah.
But I like I was saying to you before, is I like knowing that the foundation of my business is set. So I put such a structure in place for them. Take less for me just to know that they can't go anywhere else and wouldn't want to go anywhere else. And that's why I always treat my staff very well as well. Because you've got to think about it. It's not just unique to us that we don't want to have this ceiling and we want to grow. It's not unique to us. Everybody's the same. They want to know that, wow, I can really do good in this place this month. I can do better than I did last month.
Yeah.
So I always give everybody that landscape to think, this is. And what I've also done as well is made them feel a massive part of the growth of the business. So when people come in and say, God, you've done so well, yeah, with the team, we've all done well, and it's true, we've all done well without these people underneath us, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to have grown. So if you give people, that credit that you get and that. Because a lot of we do, like if you have a great game, like after a game, you played mint today, Kev. It's just that powerful feeling you get. There's no better feeling, is there? So you've got to give that to them as well. You've got to say, yeah, we've grown phenomenally. You've been paid more than every other exec for doing it, and you've had the credibility from everybody for it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got to give everybody that dose of magic, haven't you?
Yeah. When we came on, when I had Aaron on here, he spoke a lot about at Social Agendas about like the culture he tries to create. And the like elite kind of environment. Is there anything you guys have at the company? Yeah, that you kind of trying to push people to the next level in terms of like little habits that you have, or just the culture of MotorClass?
I think like the thing is, I don't subscribe to that because everybody's different, and I think it's down to the manager to understand that person's like inherent habit. So I don't say everybody behave like this.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Everybody, you behave how you behave, and I'll pick up on your behaviours, and I will get the best out of you as an individual. Yeah. And that's the way I like to manage mine. Because if you're getting everybody to do the same thing, everybody can't do the same thing. You're putting them in uncomfortable situations. You've got to sort of get the best out of everybody and accept sometimes that certain people you can't put a round peg in a square hole or the other way around. You've got to sort of identify that person and play on their strengths and accept the weaknesses and just try and get them a bit better. So, I mean, I hear all sorts of stuff, like I think Aaron said on his podcast that did he say that he like made sure they're all hydrated before, and it's just like, all right, cool if that's your angle, but no, it's not for me.
Try to keep it more individual.
Yeah, I just don't.
Yeah,
I hear all sorts of stuff like people's successful routines, and I get up at 5:30 in the morning, I read a book, and I don't think. For me, my journey, everybody's different and everybody's got their own perception, right? Yeah. But for me, I didn't do any of that stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's only recently at the moment, if you follow my Insta, I'm getting up at 5:30 in the morning. I'm going out to Pennington Park every morning, just sat at the side of a lake because I love it. Yeah. But that didn't make me successful. I'm doing it because I love it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's certain things you can do. For me personally, for anyone looking to get to be successful, I think you should follow people's behaviours that are doing significantly better than you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But it's all right to be inspired. People come on my page to be inspired. Yeah. But inspiration is only going to get you so far. There's certain days I get up, I just can't be bothered. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's going to have them days, and then it comes down to discipline. How you discipline yourself.
Yeah. I guess you don't kick yourself, right, when you feel down, like days that you don't want to do anything.
No, but I do it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I do it anyway. Like, I go to the gym an awful lot. It's a big thing for me. Yeah. But I push myself. Like, some days I get up and I just, God, I can't be bothered today. But some days I'll be inspiring people. You can't want to do something every day. It's just not natural, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's like some days, like you'll be going training. It's a job for you though, right? Isn't it? So, but you can't enjoy something every day, but you've got to do it for the end goal, haven't you?
Yeah. So, do you know when you started, you obviously you was a good salesman. Yeah. But did you know much about business, or was it literally just like learn as you go?
No, I just learned as I go. But it's something that fascinates me. I'm so interested in it. Yeah. But business is human behaviour, isn't it? It comes from human behaviour, and then it's brands. It's separated into different things. But it's just something that fascinates. I think if you're really interested in something, you're just so compelled to learn everything. I'm so obsessive with it.
Who inspires you?
Oh, Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
I'm absolutely infatuated by the man. Just who does what he's done? He just goes into industries, completely disrupts them, and just turns them into £1 billion companies. Like I was watching his thing with, what's his company called with the rockets? I can't think.
SpaceX.
What he's done there is just magnificent, isn't it? How he's managed to land that rocket, like, wow. But it's just.
So what have you taken from him? That you
I've taken
applied
that
as well?
We all have self-limiting beliefs, and the second that you can get rid of them, you really will prosper as an individual. And I'm not saying I can go and be Elon Musk. He's got serious technical abilities, like I say.
So you can get to your full potential.
I can get to my full potential.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I can get to my full potential. And that's what I said before. Every single one of us has got a talent, and it's only our self-limiting beliefs that stop us. Definitely. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's so much in us all that we're not getting out there because of our fear.
Yeah. What was your biggest one?
Biggest
like limiting belief?
What's my biggest limiting belief?
Was there anything that you got rid of and you thought, wow, weight off my shoulders?
It's something that I'm working on at the moment, actually, and it's speaking in front of people. You won't think that.
Bro, when you do that Insta, you look so comfortable speaking.
Yeah, it's weird. A lot of people say that to me. Right, so I had this situation when I started Evans Alshaw. They have this big thing, corporate companies with training days.
Yeah.
So there was like 15 people sat around a table. I was the last person. And it's the first time I've ever spoken in front of anyone. I'd never been in that experience before. So I wasn't even nervous about it. It was just like, so there was 15 people and it was going around and it was about introducing yourself. And I introduced myself and then I said a joke. And then nobody responded to the joke, and it was like a pin dropping on the floor. And I just literally just went well within myself, like, I've got something in me, I need to go. And I just crumbled. And ever since then, I've had this insecurity about speaking in front of somebody. Do you know what I mean? So like with my Instagram, so what I'm trying to say is that is an irrational fear that I've carried for 15 years. On the way here today, I'm a very confident, I'd like to say I'm an articulate person. I'm quite outspoken. And when I'm comfortable, I can converse with somebody and I can get my words out and I can explain myself. But on the way here, I'm nervous thinking, and I'm just like trying to break it down. I'm like getting anxious and I'm like, what? Why? You sat down with somebody speaking about business, something that you've demonstrated you're tremendously good at. Yeah. I'm good at communicating. I can understand people. Yeah. I'm very self-aware, but I'm fretting on the way here, like sweating and getting anxious. Yeah. And that's a limiting self-belief of mine. And and I've got an ambition to be more outspoken. And obviously this is the reason I have this Instagram platform, because I want to help other people. I have a big passion because I lived my life growing up thinking I wasn't going to amount to much, and then being in a position where I've amounted to much. Yeah. That feeling of power I get, I want to give that other people. Yeah. So I'm in a position at the moment where I'm trying to put myself in these situations so that I can get used to it and I can have a better platform. And I already do have it. But the second that, so basically my comfort at the moment is that camera like that. And the second somebody puts one on me, it's like, I'm like stiff and all my behaviour changes. And it's like, and it's just very interesting to analyse that behaviour. It's like, why? What? It's just so weird. But this is what I'm trying to say. It's about knocking them doors down all the time. We always face them. Every single one of us has a self-limiting belief. And unless you face it, you don't break it down, do you? Yeah. And the more you break these down, just the more powerful you feel. You're like, that was an unnecessary limiting self-belief. But we all live our life, and very few of us actually look to knock that door down. Yeah. And that's, for me, that's like a mission of mine. Just knock them down. Because what I was trying to say before is when you apply yourself to something and open a door, it's very surprising the opportunities that come to you. The opportunities that come to you aren't opportunities you thought there was going to come to before you open that door. You was rationalising everything. This is my life now, and that's what it's going to be like then. Oh, that's not going to work. Do you know what I mean? It's 100%. Not. When you open that door, it's just, you're telling the universe that I'm ready and I want more. And you can have it. And it's a lot of people are like, I'm not interested in all that universe stuff, and it gets talked about all the time. But I think I'm a good example of somebody that's come from absolutely nothing just by knocking doors down, and now I have a company that's worth 7 figures. Yeah. What was your background like growing up, childhood? Yeah, so I had a good childhood. There was 4 of us, me and my brother, 2 sisters. We grew up in the 80s, 90s. You know, like playing out a lot, playing football. But we had nothing as kids. My mum was a stay-at-home mum. She had 4 kids to look after. My dad had just not a very good job, so our money was stretched. So I never had name clothes. I never had name close to this. I was always looking at other people all the time. I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. I wish I could have that. I put everything on a pedestal that I couldn't have.
Yeah.
So when you grow up with that, it never leaves you. Ever. And still now, that's why I apply myself so much, because I'm still trying to get all them things that I never thought I could have. I've still not sold it to myself that I'm in a position now that I can buy a nice watch. And do you know what I mean? I wake up every day as if I haven't got it, or it's going to be taken away from me, because it takes a long time. I've lived my whole life thinking that, with not a lot, and thinking I wasn't going to amount to a lot, right?
Yeah.
So it takes a long time to prove to yourself that, I've got this now, but don't get comfortable, because it could get taken away from you at any point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that I'm on that journey at the moment of recognizing, no, it's not going to get taken away from you. This is you. This is your capabilities. This is your life. So yeah.
Yeah. I guess doing what you've done as well, and kind of having the knowledge that you've got, even if, for example, you did lose a majority of what you have, do you just have that confidence that you could just do it again?
Yes, I've got that confidence I could do it again. But I wouldn't want to.
You wouldn't want to, of course, yeah.
No.
But I'm talking like
I have this conversation with myself all the time in the car, and I think to myself, what level of insecurity would I face if I lost all this now? Does this define me as a person?
Yeah.
And although I'd like to tell you it doesn't, it probably still does quite a bit. Do you know what I mean? Because the thing is, you learn. I'm learning a lot about myself at the moment in the security of knowing that I've made it. When I say I've made it, I've reached a certain level of success.
Yeah.
Take that comfort blanket away from me. I'm just that scurrying person trying to chase that.
Of course.
That success again.
Yeah. No, it was interesting because a podcast I was on before, where I'm interested in knowing, like, from the very wealthy, does that insecurity of losing it all still apply to them? And then one guy that I was talking to before was saying, I think he's like the CEO of JD or something, doing 12 billion. And he still wakes up fearful about losing it, which I find is interesting.
But it's worse for it's worse for the people that have had it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That falls big. Do you know what I mean? So it becomes...
What do you mean had it?
It's worse for the... So basically, what I'm trying to say to you is, if you build $1 billion company or $1 million, you become accustomed to a really good lifestyle. Yeah. It's worse for the people that have had the great lifestyle and lost it, and the people that haven't had it at all. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it's
I guess, but you would have done both. You would have not had it, then you would have had it, and then going back to not having it. Yeah, how would that make you feel?
God, not great.
Yeah.
The thing is, at the moment, I'm at a place where I'm trying to. I know that money doesn't matter, right? It matters to have a certain level of lifestyle. But then why do you still keep trying to earn money you can't spend? And it happens to all of us. Where money's a commodity for us to be able to do what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
But yet we still carry on trying to get them numbers up in that bank and putting yourself under stress. And you're actually killing yourself to put numbers in a bank that don't actually matter to you.
Yeah.
Do you know
so
what I mean?
So when do you think it starts mattering?
Well, this is what I'm trying to change my perception on, is the money. The money for me is a big thing because I didn't have it as a kid. So it's always something that stuck with me. But for me, my words are true when I say to you, I just want to grow. But that's grow in any capacity.
Yeah.
Any capacity, spiritually, grow as a person, become a better person, have more money, have a better business. But yeah, it's I'm still on a journey of trying to acquire more money when I know it's not really important. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think being aware of that is being aware of that's okay. Do you know what I mean? As long as you're aware of that.
Yeah,
because you don't want to die being stressed out. Like, you think, growing the business for me has been very stressful, and it's only of recent where I'm finding peace. I'm a bit more relaxed. I'm thinking, right, we're okay now. We've got practices and processes in place. Do
you feel like you perform better at that point?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because I do. But I perform good when I'm under stress as well, though, to be fair. But but I do. But it's better for yourself and your health. You've got to be. Yeah. When does it start? When you're going to stop stressing and all the time? You've got to be. Life's about finding peace.
Yeah.
In any capacity. Do you know what I mean? And I think people on a journey, people that are running big businesses, they don't. Not everyone finds it, and it's like, well, why have you done it? Do you know what I mean? It goes back to that thing. It's for everybody else. Oh, they think I'm brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. Can you switch off?
You're getting me at a point in my life at the moment where I'm just on a change.
Well, you're learning to.
I'm learning. I'm just about learning to. But if you would have asked me this question 2 months ago, I'd say no, I can't. 2 months ago, I couldn't even go home and watch a TV program. I was so highly wired. Like, it's like, whoa.
But what's driving that? Is that because you like doing it, or is it
I've been trying to find it out. Why am I doing this? And you've just hit it there. It's the fear of losing something I built that I still can't believe I've got.
Right.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
And it's like, you just constantly feel like you've got to be working. It's like, what can I do at home? I'm sat at home. All my employees are at home. There's nothing I can influence here. It's all going on in my head. I'm sat here like a high wire. Tanya's sat there, my wife, just chilled out, TV on. Kids are running at kids. Kids, and I'm just like this freak in the back room, like, and I kept saying it to Tanya. It's the dip of coming home. It's like I go to work and there's so many things I can influence, and I'm like, and everyone goes. It's like the party's over. I'm like, and I go home, and it's transitioning from that workplace to that home life, and that's where I think the gym comes in. And I mentioned this the other day. If you're high, like high off business, if you go to the gym, I find that the gym finds that it levels you out. But if you're low and you've had a terrible day, it gives you endorphins. It gets you that balance point, because we all want to find the balance point. Of course, it's good being ecstatic and being on a high from whatever you've just done, but you never make good decisions up there. It's all about just finding that peaceful balance, and that's where everything good in life comes from. I find.
I think I need to find that maybe just like an hour and a half before bedtime. Because for me, it's different, because it's like what you described, but because I feel like I work 2 lives. So I play football, and then instead of me coming home and then relaxing, I'm up again doing podcasting.
Do you find,
business.
Obviously, you're super fit now, aren't you? So it won't work. So like for me, if I introduce running to my training, it knackers me out. I get home, and even if I want to be lively, it just brings me right down. So like I was just trying to think with your...
Yeah, but when I'm finished football, I don't want to go down, because then I'm building this other life outside of football.
And that's beautiful. I love that. So it's almost contradictory, because just having that energy you've got, it's beautiful. That's what life's about, innit? It's like you've got this job that you're doing football, and you're coming home, and it's just like this thing that you're investing in at the moment. It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, which is good, and I love it. And but the only thing I'm starting to realize is that I'm doing it. So when I finish football, I'm doing it all the way up until I go to bed. Yeah. And I'm like struggling to sleep, because I've just been going like on a high, like as you said, there's no like cooling off period.
And this is the thing as well. I have this conversation with people. Like my father-in-law, he's a joiner, so he's physical labour. Yeah. And it could be perceived that I don't work, you don't do anything, because I sit at a desk. But it's even worse when it's up there, because you can't switch off. Your brain is ticking and ticking and ticking. And I think back to this, and I was saying to you before that it was at 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock time where all this truly inspirational clarity and great ideas came from. And you almost don't want to switch off as well, because you sort of just... You're having conversations with yourself in your own head, aren't you?
And sometimes you get into a good rhythm, man, at night. Especially, and you're like, I don't want to go to bed there, because I'm...
But isn't it funny, some of the ideas you have, like some of the ideas, some of the I couldn't think of one. I know you'd asked me it, so I was struggling to say, but some of the best ideas I've had have been at night. Do you know, when I've just been at like peace and just like, wow, I can't believe I've never thought of that before.
Write it down, I forget about
it. Yeah, I'd write it down, and I'd be excited to go and implement it in work.
Then you can't sleep at night.
I can't sleep at night. But I think there comes a time where you've got to... So for me, like if my business was going through a change, I'd find it acceptable to live like that for 2 months, as long as I understood it was a period. You've got to switch off. You've got to be a downtime where you can't live at that life at that level for that long. You've got to sort of come in and out of it, because it's not healthy. It isn't healthy, but it's exciting.
It is exciting.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Like it's the land of opportunity, isn't it? It's just like for you now, whatever you're doing outside of foot, it's like, where's this going to go? Do you know what I mean? What's this going to do for me? Do you know what I mean? It's just that excitement of it.
Yeah, definitely. How do you go about setting goals for yourself or your business? Do you have like a certain way of doing things?
I just find them naff goals, because I just do. It's just like, I know that my work rate is so intense, I don't need a goal, because I know I'll surpass it. 100% I'll surpass it. The level in which I grow my business and grow as a person, it's intense. I'm just so on it, so it's pointless. It's like if I set a goal when I started, it certainly wouldn't have been turning over 30 million in year 5 and having a business.
So what was your goals when you started? Did you have like a pinnacle that you get to?
I didn't know. I just...
You was like, I'm just going to just...
My goal was, when I started, can I earn more money doing that than I'm earning from my salary at Evans Auto Shop? That's it. And if the answer was yes, I'm going doing it because I've got freedom. I don't need to subscribe to...
So that, did you have a plan in place to get to that?
Yeah, so as I said to you, I demonstrated that model before I left.
Okay.
So I knew I could earn more money, but what more so I knew... Well, it was naive. I thought I'd have less. I thought I'd work less. Which I never ended up doing.
Yeah.
But the rate in which I was growing and learning... The thing is, in business, you're learning all the time and things are moving parts all the time. And then when you learn something, you get excited and obsessed with it. It's like, right, let me do all this. Let me make this change. Yeah. And then you make that change. You realise the impact it's had. Then you have a new realisation. And the thing is with me, Kev, is I left a business as a salesman. I'd never been any more than a salesman. So all of a sudden I had to become a salesman, a buyer, a brand developer, a marketer, an after sales, an accountant. And it's learning all these new roles and it was exciting but tiring. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. What would you say in a guy I was talking to the other day, we're talking about how he sets goals. And one thing he does is throws like a game changer in that he needs to like catapult himself to the next level. Have you had that in your business where you was, going along, you're doing well, then there's something that just like shot you to the next level? Was there a moment like that for you? Or was it just gradual? You think it was just steady?
We've grown so fast. Do you know COVID was a massive growth spurt for our business?
Really?
So as I said to you before, when I faced losing everything I'd worked for, and we all had that sort of moment in time where everything froze, the government pumped money into businesses, it gave me that time to analyse the business and look how I could improve it. And it just went through the roof. So once I took that was it. That once I took myself out of the daily operations of the business flew, and I literally done 3 times the turnover in that year and made 3 times the amount of net profit in 1 year.
Amazing. How many cars you guys sell a month? Sell a year?
We sell, I'd say we do probably about 800. Yeah, 800 cars a year, which is it's a good turnover for the type of stock we deal in. Yeah,
it's quite niche, isn't it?
Yeah, it's niche. Some big stock.
Where'd you get majority of your clients from?
Majority of our clients all come through Instagram or Auto Trader, and but one of the biggest things in our industry, which differentiates you from other people, is how you source your stock. So with us, we source all our stock through my Instagram. And that's a big thing for us, being able to cut out all the middlemen. Because the usual travel is people go to We Buy Any Car, they sell the car to We Buy Any Car, then it gets put into an auction, then all the dealers fight for that car through the auction, whereas we just don't get involved in that. Yeah.
And what's your kind of interest outside of business? Like, do you have any other personal investments that you like to do, get involved in?
At the moment, I have absolutely zero. Nothing outside of the business, because the business is that intense. If it hasn't if I didn't have my 100% concentration to this business, then it wouldn't have got where it needed to. There's no point in splitting myself into many different avenues unless I've mastered the one that I'm trying to grow. But I've actually just...
You're close to that?
Sorry. Yeah, I've literally just set up a company on Company's House, which is Barton Properties, and I'm going to start looking to get into properties.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. So that's going to be my next venture. But I never considered myself doing anything else. I've just always... The thing is with me, I said to you before that I'm a slow learner, but then when I find something, I'm... when I get good at something, I get good at it fast. But then I'm reluctant to go and learn something else because I know I'll be a slow learner. Do you know what I mean? It's that barrier again, breaking down that barrier to grow. So that's why I set up the property thing. I thought, do you know what, that'd be interesting. But property, it is interesting because if you invest in a property now, you pretty much guarantee it's going to be worth a lot more money by the time I come to retire.
Yeah. So you get paid while you wait as well.
Yeah, you get paid while you wait. So it's basically taking a loan out from the bank, getting somebody else to pay it for you, and then you keep the asset that's going to be worth twice the amount of money. Yeah. Why wouldn't you buy a property?
Yeah, definitely.
But the thing is with me, everyone's asked me this before, and because I'm interested in quick money. I want to see it, touch it, feel it. I get excited, but property, it's like, it's like, it's going on in the background there, but I'm not getting that tangible excitement from it. It's just, you can't see it.
But you know what it is? That kind of tangible thing is the rent, man.
It's the rent.
Is the rent, knowing that it doesn't come from you being there, it doesn't come from your talent or your well-being. It just comes from a bit of work you just did
There's a lot goes on in between that, though, isn't there? I mean, for sure, if you was explaining the benefits of it.
Well,
you've got to buy the property.
I mean, if you do like a joint venture, it could be pretty passive,
right? So then, obviously, you as a landlord, you're reliable for the property itself, aren't you? So you'll have maintenance to do along the way. I'm assuming. I probably made it a bigger deal in the back of my head, haven't I? You know, I'm trying to come up with something. Like what if the toilet breaks?
But it's like you said, right? It's like what you said about delegating.
Yeah.
Like you're not. If you had bought a house tomorrow, you're not going to be going around there collecting rent and fixing the sink. You delegate it, and then it's passive.
It's the first time my thought's ever been challenged. So yeah, it's probably nowhere near as hard as I put it. I've just never wanted to do it because I've got to a point where I'm being a bit more sensible about how I approach things. It's like, all right, well, properties, they're never going to make you big money quick, and I want to make big money quick. And that's always been. But now I've got to a point, right, well, the business is running itself. Maybe I do need to start really looking into this property thing because people I know are into it. And now I've got no feasible excuse not to do it. It's like, why wouldn't you do it? It's silly, you know. I don't really have big pensions and stuff. And that's pretty much a dead cert for cashing in when you retire, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Cool. We've got a quick fire round for you.
Okay.
To end this on, it's just like get your take on a few things.
Okay.
So minimal words, unless you want to explain a little bit further, then you can. First one is, what was your dream car? Since you're in the car industry,
Lamborghini Huracan.
Have you got it?
I've had it.
You've had it?
I've had it, and you know what? It was an anticlimax. It really was.
Everyone says that, you know.
It was an anticlimax because it's like being in a movie, being in a Lamborghini Huracan. You get in it, you're in a great mood, it's a sunny day, and it's like, wow, this is well intense. This is the best experience I've ever had in my life. And then the next day you wake up, you've got that car and you drive, and you get up, it's a bit cloudy, it's early in the morning, you're going to wake the neighbour up, and it's just one of them cars that are just, it's extreme. And I don't like things extreme in my life. Do you know what I mean? It's an extreme. I think that anything that has an extreme high can have an extreme low.
For sure.
Do you know what I mean? And it's one of them things because sometimes, like going off a little bit here, you're going to wake up in a shitty mood, and it's going to be raining, and you've got to get in your Huracan that everyone's staring at you in.
So how long did you have it for?
A weekend.
And then you just like
straight back in the showroom, parked it up, and I said, it's not for me that. And I just like going under the radar in things that you get noticed in occasionally. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because if you get noticed in occasionally, then you're feeding for it a bit more, but it's something that you're guaranteed to be noticed in. It's just a bit too much. It's just the way my brain works.
No, it makes sense. What's the most expensive car you've sold?
A Lamborghini Urus for £265,000, which is... But an interesting fact is they only actually cost £222,000 to actually buy from the showroom from brand new. But the waiting list is so long that what tends to happen is people that are well in love with Lamborghini, they'll buy them, they'll get them. So they'll only be sold to a select few people. Yeah. Because the thing is, Lamborghini, they'll vet you out because they know they sell. It's like a Rolex watch, isn't it? Like this particular one, I paid £20,000 from Rolex. I can sell it for 60 now. That type of thing. It's supply and demand. So 265 is the most expensive car. Nice. We did say minimal words, didn't we? And here's me just going off, making it longer.
Do you know what? It happens with every guest does the same thing. But it's good to back up your answer. What's the worst advice you've been given?
Stick to what you know.
Best advice?
Best advice. Follow your dreams.
Who did you get that from?
I don't remember, but somebody I would have been following online at the time.
Yeah,
some inspirational figure that I've so craved my whole career.
Who's some name like two other than Elon Musk? Do you have another two good like kind of mentor type of guys that you follow on socials? That people should.
What's his name? David Goggins.
David Goggins.
Have you listened to that audio? Mate, that changed my life. It was insane. I was running through brick walls after listening to that. I couldn't believe his mentality.
He's mad, isn't he?
Just infectious. Have you seen some of the stuff he's done? Like
I've followed him for a while.
Oh mate, I'm in awe of him. Just his mental, he's so robust. His mentality is just, and this is the thing with him. This is what I was trying to say before. Inspiration only gets you so far. It's about doing them things every day when you wake up and you can't be bothered, and that's what gets you places.
It's a bit of a different one. Looking forward to Alan, yeah, 50 years old,
Yeah.
what would your life have to look like at that point for you to
50 years old
50.
or in 50 years?
No, 50 years old.
All right.
What would your life have to look like to deem yourself as like successful, happy life?
Finding more balance with personal life and business.
What does that look like?
That looks like having a successful business that more or less runs itself with little influence of me,
Yeah.
and having hobbies that give me happiness that aren't anything to do with money.
Nice. Good one to end on. Love
Yeah.
that. No, perfect. Again, thanks for coming on, man.
No worries,
Love
man.
that one. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Cool.